Happy Friday, everybody. Here's this week's PRG Friday message. Tomorrow from 11 to 1 at 126 Osborne Road in Gorham, Steve Horgan is hosting an open house. It's a 3-bed, 2.5-bath colonial with over 3,000 square feet of living space, and a gym in the basement and a 2-car garage listed at $750. So if you've got a buyer, feel free to send them, or if you want to show some support, feel free to pop in and see Steve there. I'm sure he'd be happy to see you. In the next week or two, I'm listing a property on Gray Road in Gorham for $375. If you have a buyer in that price range, get in touch with me and I can give you the details. Update to the siding project and the windows and doors. Right now, the windows and doors are done. The siding is currently about, I'd say, 70% done. You got Kyle in the background there banging. He's working on the siding as we speak. If you haven't been to the office or driven by in a little while, I think it's worth doing so just to see how awesome it looks. It's night and day from the old red color that we had before. Training. So this past Tuesday, Rusty and Steven hosted the training where they went over different types of deeds. They went over different lead generation ideas, how to utilize Google and whatnot. With that said, I would like to talk about how I've kind of built my business a little bit. I've always focused on my database and social media. So compound inflation works with money. It works with your health if you're working out. So if you work out consistently 4 days a week, after a few months, you really start to see the benefits of that, and that's all compounding on itself. Same thing with eating cheeseburgers for lunch every day. If you eat cheeseburgers for lunch every day for 3 weeks, 4 months, whatever, that's going to compound in a negative way on you as well. So with your database and working your database, compound inflation works the same way. When I first started in real estate, I didn't have any past clients, so my database was full of people I knew, friends, family, parents of friends, kids of friends. I coached sports quite a bit, so it was, the parents of the kids I coached as well. They were in my database. I probably had a solid 50 or so people in there. After my first year working my database and working social media, or more specifically Facebook, I had 14 sales. So with that 14 sales, I now had 14 people that went into my database. That doesn't mean I was at 64 people in my database, because over the course of the year, I also removed people from my database. So you're always going to have people on there that you'll find out that maybe their friend is a real estate agent, or they're married to a real estate agent, or maybe they get into real estate themselves. For whatever reason, you're not going to be the real estate agent they refer, which is a fine thing. Everyone needs someone they can trust, and you're not going to get everybody, obviously. So you just remove those people from your database and move on. Now, the best way to find out if someone on your database is really worth mailing to, or if they're someone you should be mailing to, is just straight up ask them, hey, if you were in the market, or someone you knew were in the market to buy or sell a home, would I be the real estate agent that you would recommend? If they say, oh, yes, absolutely, keep them on your database. If they say, oh, well, my cousin Johnny's in real estate and I've been sending him buyers for years, and, I feel obligated to use them, or I only use them, that's great. It's good. You need to have someone that you can trust. Should Johnny get out of the business, or if things should change, I would love to earn your business, and leave it at that. Then remove them from the database. So anyway, after my first year, I had sold 14 properties. I now had 14 past clients in my database. Year 2, working that database, working the system, being consistent with it, not just kind of sporadic, but consistent, because when you're consistent, people can see that they can rely on you. If they can rely on you to receive your mailer every month, they can rely on you to still be in the business for 3 months, the amount of time it might take to sell their home or buy a home. They can also rely on you to get the job done. So year 2, I had sold 29 properties. So those 14 sales compounded to 29 sales the next year. So after 2 years, I now had 43 people in my database that were past clients. My database was probably at that point around 60 or so people, most of which were past clients. So that compounded year 3, which was really my breakthrough year. And it's usually 3 or 4 years before you really break through if you're being consistent. And I sold 74 year 3, working mainly my database and social media. Now, a lot of people, they get shiny object syndrome where they'll, get a phone call from Zillow and they're running a special and they're going to guarantee you so many leads per month, or you'll see this random thing on Facebook where it's going to guarantee you a certain amount of leads, per month, and you try them for a couple months and, I've been doing the database for 2 months and I'm not really seeing any real return yet. Maybe I'll try this instead for a little while. So I'll try that for a couple months, not really seeing much of a return. So maybe I'll go back to my database, but it's been a while. So maybe I'll do it next month or whatever. And that's when working your database doesn't work, because you're inconsistent with it, and people notice things like that. So if you're consistently mailing every month, or you're consistently always mailing a magnet calendar, mailing every quarter, or you're always mailing out a Patriot schedule every summer, or if you're, sending out your email about the trunk or treat every October, people tend to, really notice that, and they know you're consistent with it. They know you're still in real estate. It's a constant reminder when they're, at the cooler getting a cup of water at work and they hear someone's in real estate, you're going to pop right to the top of their mind. They're going to recommend you. So my biggest piece of advice for getting business is be consistent and do what works. Everyone wants it to work now. Everyone wants to push that button and have it work right now. That's not realistic. Like anything else, it's work. Nothing's easy. This business is not an easy business. Work the system, it will come to you. All right, so moving on. So market update, there were 471 new listings compared to 591 new pendings this past week. That's a difference of 121 more new pendings compared to new listings. Interest rates today come in at 6.39% for a 30-year conventional loan. Any good loan officer will recommend a buy-down option to the buyer, which will get them under 6% today. CPI inflation, which is what causes interest rates to go up or down depending on how the inflation is, and the Feds watch that for what they're going to do for the core interest rate. Came in at 5%, which was a little bit less than what they expected. It's still high, but it's less than what was expected. So I think that's going to be good for our interest rates over the next few months. And I think what the Fed is going to start to do is they're going to stop their rate hikes, and towards the end of the year, they're going to start cutting rates. So when rates go down, that'll unlock more buyer demand, because buyers live the payment, they don't live the price. So if you're buying a $400,000 home or a $600,000 home, every month you're not thinking about the $400,000 or the $600,000. You're thinking about the $2,000 a month payment you're making, or $4,000 a month payment you're making. So with lower interest rates, it'll unlock more buyer demand. In conclusion, thanks for watching the video. I'd appreciate any feedback you may have. If you have anything you'd want me to mention in the next video, please let me know. I would say by Thursday of each week. Shoot me an email if there's something you want me to go over in this video, and I'll try and get that included. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you next week.